All right, so this is what we're going to be working on today. We're going to start with this design. So imagine someone reach out to you that they need a website where they can showcase what they are doing, which is a landing page. So a landing page is just a page, part of the site where you list out everything that your company is all about. What do you do? Uh, what are the things that you offer, like the services and so forth, like that? What are the people that have already benefited from this? Which is what here you have the testimonial there, and again, too, you have the call to action where you call them to perform a specific stuff. As you can see here, there's like a get started button for the user to be part of the family, or to gain access to the services that that company is offering there, like that. So we have a design already, but assuming you are working in a real sense, the design might not be there, so you have to look for the design that you want to use. And luckily for us, with WordPress, you have a lot of themes that have been developed already, ranging from different landing page that you want to work with. So depending on what type of application you want to work with, you just need to look for the theme that is going to match that. But here we have a design that we need to follow there. So which means we need to set up our WordPress site. And after this thing is being set up, we need to design everything that is here. And how do we do that? We've already talked about how you can set up your WordPress by having your XAMPP installed. Then after that, you know that your server and the database needs to be running, because WordPress is dealing with both the front end and the back end together. So all your data are going to be saved somewhere. Where is it going to be saved to? It's going to be saving inside this database. And right now we're using MySQL. And again, we're not going to be writing any code like that. WordPress is going to undo everything for us. And for the design part too, we're still not going to be writing much. 90% of the time, we're not going to write code. We're going to be using a plugin, which is the Elementor, that we can use to put all this in together instantly without us wasting time writing the code. So I already have my XAMPP running. The Apache and the database, which is my SQL, are running already. So the next thing is for us to start with the setup for the WordPress. And in order for you to start with that, you need to go to the WordPress.org, which is something I already done and that we've done already. So you need to go to the WordPress.org like that, and you download WordPress, which is something I already have on my system. So you get WordPress, and once you are done, then you continue with the other flow that you know about already. So under my download here, I already have the zip file, and again too, I've already extracted the stuff out. As you can see here, I have the extracted file. So what I just need to do is to copy the one that has already been extracted out into the XAMPP folder. And under the HT docs here, this is where you are going to be pasting what you want to put there, like that. So here I'm going to paste the WordPress here, and once it's done pasting it there like that, we need to rename the file to the project that you are working on. So every project you are working on, you need to rename them, so that when you come back later on, you know what to open, not that you start looking for which project you need to open up. But once you name all your project according to the name of that project there, it will be easier to locate anytime you want to locate the project. So it's still loading, and once it's done, I'm going to replace this WordPress name with the name of the project or the company, which is this manage here, like that. And once it's done, the next thing you need to do is to go to the browser, type localhost, then /, and after that, followed by the name of the project you want to work with at that moment. Don't forget, you are going to have a lot of projects here. So any one of them you want to work on, then localhost / the name, whatever you use for that particular project. And this one is done. So what I just need to do here is to change the name to the project name, which is this manage. So the next thing we need to do is to go to the browser, then type the local host, then followed by the slash, and followed by the name. And here now, WordPress is going to kickstart the installation process. And you know, when you want to install WordPress, you need to set up your database, and at the same time you need to have the user that you want to use for the database. And how do you set up the database? You know that the database is running already, which is this MySQL. So what we just need to do is to open another tab, go to localhost again, then followed by this PHP myadmin. If you already have it in your browser, it's going to pop up like that. Or you can do the same thing from here by just clicking on this admin that is in front of this MySQL. So it's going to open the same thing for you there. So let me just press enter. Okay, it's loading, and once it's done, I'm going to resume the recording back. All right, so everything is back. We have the PHP myadmin running, which is the interface where we're going to be setting up our database. And again too, I have the WordPress installation showing right now. So the next thing I need to do is to click on continue, but it's going to ask us that hope we've already set up our database, because it will require for the next stage after this 1 year like that. So we need to go into this PHP myadmin, and from there we need to create the database that is going to be holding all the data for the project. So what we need to do here is to click on the new, which is going to take us to a page where we're going to be creating the database. So what we just need to do is to specify the name of the database. So I'm going to use the same thing as the name of the project there, like that. So the next thing is to click on create, which is going to create the database there, like that. And the next thing we need to do is to go back to this place here, which is PHP myadmin. So go back to the home page. Currently it will be showing this manage database, but I don't want that, because I want to set up account the user that is going to be having access to that database. So once you click on PHP myadmin, it will go back to the main dashboard, and from there you'll be able to click on this user account, and as you can see, it's doing some stuff here which fails. So let me reload the page, and let's see if it's going to resolve that. So still loading while the server taking time to. All right, so yes, we should have the information here, but it's still not displaying everything correctly for me. So let me click on this thing again, because it's supposed to show all the users that we have in the system. So yes, so go back to the user account again. Hope everything will be right this time. It's still error. Let me but I know you might not experience it at your own end, so I have to install this my exam. Is it not last week? Then clear everything and reinstall it again, and then it started bringing all this in. So but first, how do you solve this kind of a problem? As you can see, this is the problem down here. Index for table global whatever stuff is corrupt, so he said we need to repair it. But how do you repair it? So that's where online comes in there. So what you just need to do, copy the error message, paste it on Google or whatever the search you are using. So you are going to see that a lot, no matter the problem you want to, like, you are going to be facing, a lot of people already face this thing, and some people already solve the problem. And as you can see, this same problem has already occurred to someone there, and these are different solutions that you need to follow in order to repair. So the simplest way to fix this issue is by running repair table command in MySQL. So how do you run command in MySQL there like that? It's simple. Just go back into that PHP, and as you can see, there is this SQL type. So this SQL tab, this is where you can run any SQL command. So it's going to bring out the interface for you where you can run any SQL command. All the button we have been clicking since, behind the scene, they are running SQL command. So here now, this is where you can run your own custom command. We just need to paste it there like that, and you click on this go. And if everything is successful, you are going to see the green mark, or if there is any error, it's going to display the error back to you there like that. So what is this SQL? It's just like your HTML or CSS on JavaScript code that you normally write. This is another language on its own, but this one is meant for database. So this is how you talk to database to perform action for you. And as you can see, your query has been executed successfully. So which means that the query that I run and everything is successful. So let's see whether it works or not. So let me go back into this user account and let's view it again. So clicking on this user account too, what is going on that this thing is running one SQL command behind the scene. So instead of you running all this in, as you can see now, everything is now back and it is working once again. But what is going on here is just SQL running behind the scene. So when you want to create database, or anytime you want to create database, that you click on this new and you click on create, you're actually running a SQL command. But that command is behind the scene. Your own is just to type the name of the database, and it's going to generate the necessary command that will create the database for you. Anything you are doing here, they are just running SQL command behind the scene, and you can get the command that this thing is running anytime you need it there like that. But yeah, let me just go back into the user account and let me create a new user there like that for the project we want to work on. Or you can even use the root if you want, but I'm going to click on this add user account like that. But it's something you can run directly to from this SQL. If you know the SQL to create, you just come here and you run the SQL. But instead of you doing that, you can use the interface like this instead of you cramming SQL command to create the stuff. So let me remove this. So it's going to be manage the password here is going to be the password I normally use, strong pass at 1 like this. Is it the correct one? Yeah, it's typing nonsense. So strong pass at 1. So we just need to confirm the password. So I'm going to paste it down here. And the next thing we need to do is to check all this privilege, because we want this user to be able to perform different action on the database that is going to be connecting with. So you should be able to select, insert, update, delete, and do a lot of things, which WordPress is going to be doing behind the scene through this user. So the next we need to do is to click on go. And once you click on go, it's going to generate the necessary SQL command that is going to run automatically and generate the user for us. But now I'm getting error again like that. So I'm getting error which is saying I cannot connect. What is the problem? Does the server stop? Yeah, the server has stopped, and I don't know why the server stopped, because once you get this cannot connect, it means your server is not running, which is a MySQL server. So we need to start it again. Let me see why it stopped. So let me start it again like that. Yeah, so it's running back now. So let me wait for it, whether it's going to stop or not. Okay, it's not stopping. And these are the problems you don't face when you are doing it online, but those one, it require payment. And since we don't want to do anything like payment, that's why we are using this local development right now. But let me retry the connect so that this thing run the stuff again. Let me check. Hope it's not stopped. Yeah, it's still running. And this thing is going to reconnect to the database once again and create the necessary stuff that it needs to create. So let me go back into the user account, whether we have it or not. If you don't have it, we have to go through the process and create it once again. Let me check the database. Okay, it's still running like that. So it's loading. Let's wait for it. So do you have it here? As you can see, it's not there because the database was stopped. So let me click on this add user account once again. So this thing has been filled with the details. So the next thing is to check everything. After checking, we need to click on go, and if everything is successful, it should, yeah, the database is still running, so we should have a success. Yeah, so now the user has been added. But all those buttons you are clicking since, this is the command that is generated for us. So whatever you want to do with the database, you need to talk to it through a command or through this code here. So, but this code, we don't need to be typing it by ourselves. We just need to click on the button, and this application here, which is PHP My Admin, will generate the necessary SQL code that is going to make this thing to work like that. So this is what we're supposed to type, but instead of us cramming all this line or putting all this in our head, we can just use the interface to do this the stuff. And that's what the WordPress is there too. So instead of you generating the code yourself, you use the interface, and behind the scene, the interface will be generating the necessary code, which is what your window 2 is doing. So when you click on a button to go to File Explorer, or you want to delete something, or you are doing it behind the scene, they are generating the code that is going to communicate with the underlying system to do the necessary work for you. So you don't need to type the code that will delete the stuff on your system. Your own is just to click on the button, and the button will generate the necessary code behind the scene. So now we have all the necessary stuff that we need in order for us to set up our WordPress. So we have the database, which is what I call manage here, and at the same time too, we have the user that is going to be connecting to the database. So what we just need to do here is to go to WordPress, and as you can see, it has already put out this information that we need the database name, we need the user, password, and the host there like that. So we just need to click let's go, because we just set up everything. So the next thing is for us to input all these details in the next screen that this thing is going to load for us. And as you can see, we need to input the database, which is going to be managed, because that's the name of the database. And again too, this is what I use for the username, but let me check the password. Yeah, so the password too is right. So the host, for now, since we are dealing with local, and as you can see, your PHP whatever stuff is coming from the local host. As you can see, this is the server. So 127.0.0.1 is the same thing as local host, or this is your local host. Behind the scene, this is the number that is representing there. So local host is the same thing as 127.0.0.1, which is the same thing as what we have here. So you can put that number here, or you just type local host, everything will work. And the next thing is for us to submit and let WordPress check whether everything here is right or wrong. If everything you put here is right there, it's going to tell you that everything is good to go, and you install WordPress. And as you can see here, all right, whatever stuff. So run installation. But assuming what you put it, one of them is wrong, it's going to bring out the error message here for you to fix the stuff. But since everything is okay, so I'm going to click on this run the installation, which shouldn't take time. And once it's done, you know, it will bring a screen for us to specify the name of the site or the title of the site, and again to the password for the admin, and the email in case maybe you forget your password later, or something will be sent there. So that email is what WordPress will be using there like that. So we need to put the name, and we need to put the login details for the admin, which is very important, because when you want to go to the dashboard of your WordPress site, you need the login details that is going to be created in the next screen. Yeah, so this is it. So we need to input our site title, which I'm going to use the same thing there, which is going to be managed like that. So for the username is going to be managed too. This is the admin details. So this is very important, because this is what you are going to be using to log in later on. It's different from database. This one is WordPress, not the database one, but you can use the same login credential for the two of them. So the email where they are going to be sending information to in case there is anything. So I'm using my email, and the next thing is to install WordPress. But this thing that we just did now, assuming you are dealing with online where you've already purchased the hosting, they make this thing easier for you. You don't even need to do all this thing like that. So you only just to click on one button, and it will keep taking care of other things for you behind the scene like that. But those one require payment before you can start using them like that. But yeah, since we are running it locally, we need to go through all this process, and those online one too, it's not that hard. Or this process that we just did now, if you already set up the stuff locally and you want to take them online, then you are still going to follow this process. And that's why it is better you know this process right now, so that when you are doing the other one, it will just look as if you are playing there like that when you want to run everything online. But if you already set up this thing locally, like means offline, and you now want to take it online, you still follow this process. But if you don't want to do it locally, you just want to create everything online, it's quite easy. It's just by clicking button stuff to install things for you. And as you can see, everything is successful. So what we need to do now is to log in into our database like that. So the next thing we need to do is to log in into the database, to log into the dashboard of our site. And as you can see, it's going to bring out this thing for us. So input the email or the username, and along with the password that you use to set up your WordPress, not the database. So whatever you'll be using here is the username and password for your admin. So, and if you use the same username and password like your database, then you can continue, but that doesn't mean they are always going to be the same every time. So it's whatever you use at that previous screen, that's what you always use to log in into the WordPress. And once this thing is done, then it's going to show us the dashboard where we can manage everything about the site. So, and that's where we're going to be creating the pages that we need. Again, we're going to be installing the plugins and themes that we want to use for our project, because the art of WordPress is just themes and plugins, mostly plugins, because that's what you use to add a lot of, because most of the time you don't need to code this thing yourself. There's a lot of plugins that can do whatever you want on your site. So you just need to find the corresponding plugin that is going to help you to achieve what you want to do. And why is it taking time? It's not supposed to take time like this. All right, it's still loading. Let me move my XAMPP to one place like this, and then wait for it. And once it's done, then we continue from there. Yeah, the dashboard is loading now. Yeah, so now our dashboard is here, which is a welcome message that we have on the screen here. So I don't need this, so I'm going to dismiss it. There is this other information too that if you don't need them, you can bring down this screen option and you uncheck any one of them that you don't want to see. But I'm going to leave them like this because that's not the major stuff. So the thing that we want to do first is for us to go to the plugin section and install the plugins that we need. So, and which plugin do we need right now? We need the Elementor plugin, because that's what we are going to be using to design our site. So anytime you install any WordPress, and the first thing you do is to have the Elementor so that you'll be able to design whatever you need to design there. So I don't need this plugin, so I'm going to delete it. This one that comes with it like that. So don't just add any plugin. You need to know what the plugin is doing. And how do you add plugin? So we can go to this add plugin at the top here like that, or you can do the same thing from this plugin. Once you over on this stuff, it's going to bring out two options. Then you can click on add new plugin, but I'm going to add it from here, and this thing is going to take us to a page where we can search for different plugins that we want to use like that. So let me wait for it to load. Yeah, and it's done. So as you can see, there's a lot of plugins that you can install like that. So yeah, what I'm going to do is to look for the Elementor plugin. So type Elementor, and it's going to bring out all the plugins that are related to Elementor there. But the one we need is a major Elementor plugin, which is the one that is going to give us this in there. But Elementor come with a free and pro version. So even though when you install it, you have access to some widgets under it, but there's some stuff you want to use that they are under pro. So what you can do is to install some add-on that we add some of this functionality into the, as you can see, all this in add-on like this, they are there to help you with the Elementor. But the major thing we need is the Elementor itself. So this is not the Elementor, this is what we need. So these are not the main Elementor, these are add-on. As you can see, the add-on is part of their name. So they are depending on the main Elementor. They cannot work on their own, they are add-on. So you have to install the main Elementor first, as you can see, by Elementor. So you need to click on install. But if you need any other thing later on, for example, you can use this one to create custom header and footer in Elementor. So this one too, we are going to need it later on like that. But for now, we need to install this one. And in case you need any other things too, as you can see, these are different add-on that you can add into it like that. As you can see, it comes with 90 plus Elementor widgets, so it gives you more features to Elementor. The same thing here too. As you can see, essential add-on for Elementor, so popular Elementor templates and a lot of things. So this one gives you different templates. So instead of you doing all these widgets yourself, combining them together, you can use templates that has already been designed done like that. But for now, we are going to just install only Elementor, but later on we need to come back here and find the add-on that can help us to add something that the Elementor is not giving us because it is not free. So we just come here, look for the add-on that have what we are looking for, and from there we'll be able to add that stuff into the system. So the Elementor is installing, and once it's done, I will resume the recording back. All right, so as you can see here, that same problem that we normally face every time, which is taking time to execute whatever stuff. So let me stop this the database, and let me stop the server, and from there let me go into the PHP init like that. So I've already clicked on this thing in my other screen. So under this config, the stuff we normally do. Now don't forget, I just reinstall this my exam, so which means all the setting that I have before won't be there again. So I just open this my PHP init once again, and this thing is now coming out, which sets the value to 120. So let me just find 120 here like that. So, and as you can see, max execution is 120. So I'm going to increase it to a bigger number. For example, 1600 like this. So which is going to be the seconds, and this one should be enough for it to be able to do the necessary setup it needs to do. So I'm going to close this in once again, and restart my server. So let me start my server once again, and once the server is done starting, then I will start my SQL. Yeah, so the server is running, then start my server, or that's my SQL. So that one too is running. So let me move it back to where it is, and let me reload the entire page. So we won't be having this 120 seconds stuff. So I've added more time into this so that it will be able to do some stuff there like that, because something is running and it takes 120 seconds, and after that it will stop. But I don't want it to stop, so I've increased the seconds so that it will do all this in the time it needs to. So I'll pause the video once again, and once this thing is done, we'll come back into it. All right, so it's done. Normally this is not the screen where we are supposed to install it, but because it's failed, so it redirects us to the screen. But it's done now. Since I've increased the time it takes before you stop running any script. So the next thing we need to do is to activate the plugin, which is something we can do from the installer, but I'm going to do it from here. So we activate the plugin, and this thing will direct us to Elementor sites in case you want to activate the pro version, but we're not going to activate anything. We're going to be using the free version. So we are learning right now, so we don't need to pay for anything at all. So once it's done activating the plugin, and we now start to install a theme that can work best with Elementor. And the theme we're going to be installing is just a basic theme for Elementor. Nothing like a plugin come with it. The only plugin that is required is just the Elementor. So we're not going to be installing anything that you need to import data, or it's going to design a lot of things for you that know. We want to use a theme that is meant for Elementor. And this thing again, this is a database error. Anytime you have this kind of an error establishing a database, it's either your database is not running or it has stopped if it is running before, like that. And as you can see here, I don't know why this thing is just going off in between. So as you can see, it has stopped. So we need to click on start again to bring back the database, because this thing cannot work without database. That's where all the data will be saved. So without it, nothing will work. So since my database is running again, I just need to click on refresh so that it can refresh the page, and anything needs to do, it will carry on with it like that. So let me wait for it. All right, so as you can see, now this thing is showing the Elementor. There is nothing like activate here, so which means the plugin has been activated already. And as you can see by this side, is there again? It did not take me to their site because I think on this browser already set it up there, so it pick it up automatically. But if you don't log in into their this thing, it's going to take you to their site where you need to log in, and but you don't need to do that. You can just keep their stuff and it will come back into this page where you can do the necessary stuff that you need. So the next thing we need to do is to add a plugin into or add a theme like that, because the theme is using currently is not what we want. For example, if you go to the name at the top here and you right click on this visit site, it's going to take us to the main page itself, not the dashboard or not the backend. So this is the backend, but it's going to take us to the front end that we're going to see what is showing by default for us. And when you install any WordPress, what is going to show is just a domain blog page where it comes with this domain hello world that was generated for you like that. But this is not what we want to see. We don't want to be seeing the list of posts. What we want to see is a home page where we want to put all our content. But before we do that, the first thing we need to do is to change this theme that is using right now. So this is a theme is using right now, but I want to use a theme that is meant for Elementor there. So what we need to do here is to click on add theme like this, and that is going to bring us a page where you can search for different themes that you want to use for your project like that. And the name of the plugin is Hello Elementor, which is just a basic Elementor theme that you can use to start things up. So it doesn't contain any external plugins. It's just Elementor that it requires. It will not even install it for you. You'll be the one that have to install the plugin, and the only plugin is required there is just this. And as you can see, it's coming out already here because I already have Elementor installed. So this is the name of the plugin. In case it's not showing at your own side here, then you need to search for Hello Elementor. So this is the name of the plugin. But since it's showing already on my list, because I already have this in and I think I've used it before. But since this is just a new WordPress and I've installed Elementor, so it's bringing out the suggestion. So what we need to do here is just to click on install. So it is going to install this theme, and once it is done installing the theme, we need to activate. So whatever you are installing, you need to activate them before it will start working. So it's installing right now, and once it's done, it will ask us to activate, because currently it's using this 2025 as the theme that follow WordPress there like that. But I don't like it. Assuming you want to do something like this, as you can see, this is a theme that have been set up already for you here. So what you just need to do is start replacing the content. So assuming you don't have any landing page in mind or you don't have any design, just come here, search for a landing page theme, look for the one you like, and you can see there are different versions of theme that you can use here. So once you're okay, just click on install to install that particular theme. So as you can see, there are different types that you can install to quickly start up your development. These are not the data you are going to use, but it will set up all the design for you like that. Then from there, your own is down to add the data that you want to add into the system. As you can see, there's a lot of them like that. This is one for e-commerce. Assuming you want to breed a site where they can sell or where they sell gadget. Now maybe there is someone that comes to you or one of your friends or that you know, and the person is dealing with all this gadget selling. What you can do is, oh, let me help you to create a site, because that's how you learn. It's not just about you listening to what is going on in the class alone. Just look for someone around you that you know that is doing something and they require online process. Even if they don't know about it, you can talk to them that I can help you to do this in. What I just need for you is the name, what are the things you are selling, and you come here, set up your WordPress, look for a team that is following that business, and from there, you keep updating the data according to what you want to do. As you can see, there's a lot of themes here that you can quickly install to start working on the site like that. So this is like a blog page. Maybe you want to create a blog, so you can quickly use this theme for that, and you can customize everything about it. The same thing too. This is another blog page, but this is a landing page. This is another landing page like that. This is another one. So there's a lot of them. You want to just to search for the one you are looking for. Yes, so the thing is done installing now. So the next thing we need to do is to click on activate, so that it's going to remove this 2025 and it will replace it with this Hello Elementor theme, which is just a basic theme. All the stuff that are here, it will be removed. So all this header that you have there, the footer that is showing down here, it's going to remove them and replace it with just a basic theme, which is this Hello Elementor there, because each theme comes with their own setting, and you can customize them later or add pages, and you do all the design that you need there like that. So this thing is still loading, and let me, okay, my database and server is still running. So it's just for this thing to activate the theme, and once it's done, yeah, so now our Hello Elementor is now the main theme, or the current or the active theme like that. We don't need to do any GoPro at all. We are not doing that. So just remove the notification. If in case you need to customize anything with it, we are going to be doing that later. And once I go back to the main site, which is the front end, you see that this page will be different from what we had before, because now he's not using that 2025 theme again. He's now using the Hello Elementor. So each theme comes with their own basic setting, and you can modify them, or you continue using the default one that is given to you like that. But we're not going to be showing this blog page. So what we're going to be showing is a dedicated home page, and as you can see now, everything has changed. The color too have changed. You can see there is nothing like footer again, so everything has been removed. The only thing you just have is this basic heading and this basic footer, which is something we are going to be replacing later on. But first, we don't want our home page to be showing this archive like this. What we want to show is a dedicated home page, and that home page is where we are going to be doing this design, because this is what we want to show anytime we go to the site. This is the major thing we want to show, not the archive or the blog. Even though you are going to be having different pages later on, like the pricing, the product, the about page, the career page, and community page. These are different pages on their own. But first, this is the home page that we want to show. And how do you create page? It's quite easy. Just go to these pages, and from there you are going to have the option for all pages in case you want to see all the pages. But what we want to do right now is to add a new page. So I'm just going to click on this add page, and it's going to take us to where we can create a page. And which page do we want to create right now? We want to create the home page. By default, Elementor has already generated a basic page for us, but we don't need it right now. We want to create our own. So I'm going to wait for this thing to load, and it's going to take me to the page where you can generate the page setting that you want. So it's loading. Let me wait for it. Yeah, so this is the page, or this is where you are going to creating your page. So we need to create a title for the page. Yeah, so I'm going to call it home page. You can call it in anything you want, and whatever name you put here, that's what is going to use to create the name of the page. So the next thing we need to do is to click on this publish. So you publish so that it can create the page for you. We're not going to be doing anything from here. We're going to be editing with Elementor later on. But before we edit with Elementor, as you can see, the page has been created for us. But right now, because I just installed my WordPress, I just installed my XAMPP, all those other settings that we've done before, they are no more here. Before, anytime you create a page, whatever the title of your page, that's what is going to use at the page. But right now, it's using the ID of the page like that, and it's because there's some setting we need to do there like that. So I'm going to click on this the logo so that it takes us back to the dashboard, and we're going to go into the setting. So we need to change this setting. We don't want it to be showing the ID of the page. We want it to show the title of the page as part of the this in there. So which means we need to go into palm links. So in order for us to do this, we need to come to setting. We need to come to this perma links here. So this is where we are going to do the setting like that. So this is where we're going to do the setting. Let me wait for it to load. Yeah, so as you can see, is using plain, which is going to use the ID of the page. So any page or any post that is just going to do it in this way. That's not what we want. What we want to use is the post name. So which means whatever the title of the page or the post you are working on, that's what is going to use as the name. Just like that our page now that we name it home page, then it will now be /home page. Or if you name it as blog, it will be /blog and so forth like that. Not the ID that WordPress created, because all these things, they are being saved somewhere. And so they are being assigned ID. And this ID is what is going to use to know where this page is like that. So instead of us using the ID, which is not that clear and is not that friendly to the search engine, so this one is what you will always use in case it's not there. But if you do it for this project, in the next project, it should be the same thing. But when you're installing WordPress online, it might not be the same thing every time. So you have to come here and make sure that it is post name. So the next thing is just to save changes like that. So that means any pages we created now, it will always use their name, not the ID like that. And once I refresh the page, nothing will still happen, because by right now we are still showing the archive as our main page. It's still showing the archive, which is a blog. So it's still the same thing as blog there like that. So we need to change that setting too. So this one has been done. So we need to go to this reading. So the next thing we need to do is to go to the reading there like that. And this is where we are going to set your static page that you want to use as the home page, not blog. As you can see right now, is using blog as our home page. And that's the reason why you are seeing this archive here is not showing the page that was created. So what we can do here is to tell it that we want to use a static page. So which page do you want to use as your home page now? So here we just need to pick the page that was set up. This is the page that I created. If you don't create the stuff, you will not see it there. These are the pages that you have there like that. So we have the home page and we have the sample. So I'm the one that created this one, but this one has been there when you install the WordPress. So you need to create your page first before coming here. So I'm going to select this one. So in case you have a page for blog too later on, you can pick it here once you've already created a page for blog and you just select it. So all the blogs that you'll be creating, everything are going to be on that page there. But I'm only going to set the home page, then go down, save changes, and once this thing is done and we go back into our front end, you see that it will now be using that home page that we created instead of using the blog or that archive that is showing. So this thing is still loading, and once it's done, then I'm going to go back into that front end so that we'll see what is showing there like that. Yeah, so settings saved. So let me go back to the page. So reload, and once this page is done reloading there, you see that we will not be seeing archive again. What we'll be seeing is the content of the home page, which is where we need to start working from. So that's where we're going to start the working from, by creating all these content are there. So all this content are going to be inside the home page, and later on you can extend it. If you know the content that needs to be for the pricing page, you just update them and so forth like that. But for this one here, we don't really know about all these other ones. So the only thing we know about is just this page that we need to work on, and that's the page we just created there, but it's still loading. Don't know why this thing is taking time today. All right, so it is going to load, and once it's done loading, we're going to have the home page display for us here. It's not supposed to be taking time like this. Loading. So it's loading, but why this one is loading, so let me just go back into this place. So go back to all the pages here like that. I need to pause this thing. All right, so this is our page. So what we need to do here is to edit it with Elementor. So you can click on it, or you click on this edit, which is going to take you to that same place where you'll be able to edit with Elementor like that. So let me click on it, and still loading. So let me go back to that one. Should be done. Yeah, so now this one is done loading. So now our main page is not our home page, but the content we have here, we are going to remove it and replace it with the content that is coming from the actual design there. And that's the reason why we need to click on this edit with Elementor. So this thing will take us to the Elementor page where we can start adding the necessary widgets that we are going to be using to create everything that is here like that. So let me wait for it. It's loading, so it's going to take us to Elementor page, and once it's done, we continue from there. Yeah, so the Elementor is loading, which might even take time, but let's wait for it. Yeah, so Elementor is done loading. It was able to load quickly. So let me close this because this is the first time I'm using it again. Since the new installed, and this is the first site for this new installed XAMPP. So all those settings all those stuff are coming out. Yeah, so now we have our Elementor, and as you can see, we can start working on the home page like that. But I don't need all this thing that is showing right now, all this content that is showing right now. I don't need them. So we want to work with a plain canvas. So we want to work with the plain canvas. So I don't want anything like the header and the footer to show at all. The only thing I want to show is all the design that I'm going to be doing from here. Later on, we're going to add the header into it, but for now, we want to focus on the main content, starting from this section to this section, then to this what they said section, then to this section. And later on, we're going to add the header and footer, because header and footer, they are not that easy to customize there like that. So what we are going to start with is just these basic sections that we have on this page. So how do we remove anything that we don't need right now, like all this header and footer? We don't want to see it at all on those pages. So what you can do here is to go to this site setting. So what you need to do is to click on this site setting, and once you click on the site setting, it's going to bring some settings out for you. This is where you can set up your global colors, which is what we're going to be doing soon, because we need to set up all the colors we want to use for the project. Again, you can set up the fonts so that you don't need to be doing this thing every time you are changing any element. Again, this is where you're going to set all your typographical, your buttons, the form feed, and a lot of other things that you want to do like that. As you can see, the Hello Team header and the Hello Team footer. As you can see, it comes with this footer and header that you can use to set up your header and footer later on. But for now, we don't care about this header and footer. I don't want to see them like that. So I will scroll down until I get to this layout here. So under the layout, you click on it and you scroll down. You are going to see the section for the page layout. So yeah, I don't want the theme. What I want is this Elementor canvas. So this Elementor canvas now, it will only show the content for you, not the header and the footer. So I'm going to click on save changes. Yeah, sometime it might not show, so you have to reload the page before you see the changes. So once you come here and you change it to Elementor canvas like this, then back to the editor, as you can see, it's still showing the header and footer. So what you need to do is to reload the page. So once this thing is done leaving, even though you've already changed it to that Elementor canvas like that, so what you need to do is to reload the entire page so that it will be able to show what you need for you, because right now it's still showing all this header and footer. So what I will just do is to reload the entire page so that Elementor can pick it up, because the changes you made now, it's something that is affecting the entire page. So it's not just Elementor alone, and you need to reload the page so that it can detect the changes there like that. And once this Elementor is done loading, once again, you're going to see that the header and footer are not going to be showing again. The only thing you'll be left with is just your content that you want to showcase on that page. And again too, on the site, as you can see, the header and footer are there. That header and footer too will be removed. The only thing that will be left is the content of the page. So anytime you change it to that canvas or the Elementor canvas, the only thing you always see is the content that you design from Canva. So every other thing will not show on that page at all. So that's what that setting is there for. So let me wait for this thing to load, and once it's done, I'm going to resume back. Oh yeah, it's done. I don't need to be doing that. As you can see right now, nothing is showing again. So there is nothing like header, there is nothing like footer, and the text that was there before. So now we can design everything by ourselves. So everything that we need, we are going to be adding them to the page. Can you see now? Nothing is showing again because we don't have anything on that page. But once we started adding things here and we publish, they are going to appear on that page. And what do we want to do right now? So we want to start with our design that we have here. And where do we want to start with? We want to start with this section first. So this section is what we want to work on first. And again, too, everything that you know about that we've talked about in CSS, or the way you arrange your HTML, that's the same way you are going to be doing here too. So you need to arrange your element in a way they are going to be able to apply the flex layout. So if you look at the design that I have here like that, you say that this stuff is like a flex layout where you have a container that is containing everything like this. Then inside the container, you have another one that is holding all these text together, because as you can see, this thing is not expanding anyhow. The expansion stop at this line. So there is one that is here, and there is now this one that is at this side here. So inside this one, you now have the content on the left and you have the content on the right. So how do you do something like this in this place? It's quite easy. So instead of you creating your div, then you create another div here, this another div, and then another div here. So here we call it container. And when you want to create container, as you can see, there is a container here which is going to generate flex container for you. And if it is grid that you want to use, this is grid container. But if you look at it, the stuff that I just draw now, you see that there is one section here. So this is a section, and inside the section, that's where you have all these other elements. So how do you create the section here? So to create section, you can use this plus button to add section. And this one now, as you can see, is going to help you to add a container there. So once you click on it, can you see the same thing that you have here is what you hear. So you can do it from here or you can do it from here. But the reason why I'm going to be doing it for here is because this one have templates that you can use. This one doesn't have templates. You have to do everything from scratch yourself. And what I mean by that is that you have to drag the stuff to where you need it, and it's going to create the stuff for you. As you can see now, it has created that container. But now it's not putting the content I want on the left, and it's not putting anything on the right. So I have to come here and start doing the setting. But instead of you doing that, you can use the template. So let me delete this one. So instead of you doing that, you can use the template from here. So once you click on this, can you see it comes with some predefined template? And the template we want to use right now is this, where there is one content on the left and there's another content on the right. So this is the one you are creating by default, or this is the one. So when you click on this container and use it to create it, this is what it's going to create for you there. But instead of you doing that, you can click on this plus, then it's going to bring out this template for you. And as you can see for the grid, these are different templates for the grid that you can quickly use instead of you creating it from scratch yourself. But we don't need grid. What we need is the flex box, which is the same thing as this container here. And once you click on this, it brings out the templates that you can use out of the box like that. And this is what we need. So if I click on this now, you see that it will do the same thing, but now I have the container for the left and I have the container for the right. So I can add anything I want on the left and I can add anything I add on the right. And again too, there's a container there that is wrapping them, just like the way the design is here. So there is a container here, and that inside container we have these two boxes, which is where we put the left content and the right content. And that's the same thing that this is just generated for us out of the box like that. So you can bring back your structure, and once you open it, as you can see, there are two containers there. There is one for the left, which is this, and there is one for the right. And we can start putting whatever content we want to put inside the stuff. So if you need your structure, you can bring it back, and if you don't need it, then just close it here. Maybe it's covering what you are doing there. And what do we need to do right now? what we need to do is to start putting the content inside this left. And what are the content we want to put here? So the content we want to put here is this heading here. Then apart from that, we want to put this our text, and again we want to put the button. But if you look at this our design, they have a specific colors that is being used on this design. So what can we do here? So we can create all these colors done for us, and anytime we need them, we just need to use the template that has already been set up, just like the variable that you normally set up in your CSS. The same thing, we can do it here. In order for you to do that, we need to go to site setting again, like that, and we can set up our global colors and some other thing like the font. And luckily for us, your fonts that you want to use for this project, they are Google fonts. So this Elementor supports Google fonts. It will help you to install it out of the box. You just need to mention the font name. So I'm going to go back into the project we are working on here, which is this design. So I'm going to go back to the previous page. Where is this? So I'm going to go back to the previous page like that. So, and I'm going to open this style guide, and this is where we're going to see all the styles that we need to use for the project like that. So I'm going to open this in another editor. You can use your notepad to open it up, and you'll be able to see the content that is there. For example, here, let me just right click on it again, then open with notepad. Yeah, editing with notepad like that. So it's going to open my notepad and bring all the content again. Too, another thing we need is this index.html, because that's where all the content that we want to use are like that. So that's where everything plays. So I'll go back there, then again to right click on this index.html so that you can have all the content. So editing notepad like that. So it's going to bring out the notepad again, and as you can see, all the text, so we don't need to be typing the text, they are here already or like that. But the style guide, if you look at it, we have the bright red, we have the dark blue, we have the dark grayish blue, and all this thing. Again, for the font family, as you can see, the name of the font family is this Bay Vietnam Pro. So here now, this is where you can set up all this thing globally, so that anytime you are creating any widget, you can be able to pick this color, not that you keep typing them again and again and again like that. So yeah, the first thing we need to do is to set up our global color. This is what is there by default. These are the color is going to be using out of the box. If you don't need them, you can just delete any one of them like that. But this one now is system, so you say I cannot delete them because they are system, but I don't want them like that. So what I'm going to be doing is to create my own. So what you just need to do is to add color, and here you are going to give it the name for that variable, and you are going to be setting the color that you want. So since this thing are here already, so I'm just going to be copying the same name that is here. So for example, like this bright red, that's what I'm going to use as a name. So I don't want the spacing. So when you're creating your variable, there shouldn't be any space. So what you need to do here is to click on this, and you can now bring the color. So how do we do it now? So we just need to paste the color code there like that too. So if you look at it, the color code is this. So I will just copy it. But if you look at it, it's using HSL. So if you look at it too, this thing is supporting it. So that is hexadecimal, the RGB, and this HSL. So here now we just need to paste the code like that, and as you can see, it's going to create that color for us. And that's the same thing I'm going to do for the other like that. So I'm going to stop recording and fill all this in, because we don't need to be adding all this one into the recording. It's just the same process that we did for this first one. That's the same thing that is going to be done for all these other colors there like that. All right, now we have all our color code set up. So bright red, the dark blue, the dark grayish blue, the very dark blue, then the very pale blue, and the very light gray. So the next thing we need to do, so let me save changes first. But you need to save the changes. It's very important. So we need to save changes. And once the changes is done, now when you are creating all your elements, you have access to all these color that you have there. So now the next thing I need to do is to go back so that we can set up our global font. So we need to set up our global font too, because as you can see, what is your primary font, what is your secondary, what is the text, what is the accent like that. Or you can add your own custom one. So but I'm going to edit the one that is there before like that. So as you can see, the font family is using right now is Roboto, but the actual design we want to work on as you can see here, it said the font name is B Vietnam Pro. So you don't need to be doing anything. What you just need to do is expand this in and search for the name of the font, because Elementor is using Google Fonts, and as you can see from the link, everybody these days use Google Fonts because it is free and you can use it anytime. So we just need to type the name of the font, and as you can see, it's part of the list, which is this B Vietnam, like that. So all our primary text, they are going to be using that font. Again, I'm going to click on this secondary because all of them should be using the same font, because our project is not using a different font, it's the same font. So here too, I'm going to search for that B Vietnam and activate it for the secondary. Again, for all the text, it's not going to be Roboto, it's going to be that same B Vietnam, because it's the same font that we're using for the project. Because here now, as you can see, it's only one font that is being used, not two fonts, but there's some design that can use multiple fonts like that. So I'm going to change everything to this B Vietnam like that. And again, too, there's some other setting you can do here. Maybe if you know the font size, the font weight, which is what this thing is telling us. As you can see, these are different font weights you are going to be using. For the body or all the text is using 16 pixels, which is what is there by default. So you don't need to change it. All your text by default, they are going to be using, as you can see, is using 400 by default. And again, too, is going to be 16 by default. So you don't need to touch all those settings. But if your design is using a separate stuff, you might need to change the font size and some other setting. And again, too, you can even customize them separately later on for each one of the items that you are working on. So I'm going to save changes here, like that. I'm going to save changes, and once you save changes and everything is okay, then we can now go back into that place and start working on our design. But we are still going to come back to this place soon. But for now, let's just go back to the page and put the content that is going to be on the left and the one that is going to be on the right. Again, too, you can customize the setting for your buttons here, because if you look at the project that we want to work on, you see that the button that is here is still the same button that is here, and it's still the same button that is here, just that this one have white here, but all the buttons, they follow the same pattern. So since they are the same thing, instead of you creating them every time like that, you can do the setting that you always use for it. But for now, we're not going to do that. We're going to do everything here first before going into that place. And as you can see, we still have all our container intact. So we want to add something to this left side. And what do we want to have there? We want to add this title, and again the text and this button. So how do you add the title or the heading? This is the widget that you need. So you need this title. You just need to drag it to where you want to place it, and as you can see, it's going to generate the stuff for you. You just need to replace the content from here, or you replace it from here. And what content do we want to use? So going back to that index.html, we just need to copy the content that we want to use. So copy it like this, then paste inside the box where we need to. And as you can see, the stuff has changed. But right now, it's not using the color that we want. So where can you change that? So that's where the style tab comes in. So content, this is where you modify the content and change the type of the tag is going to use. So right now it's using H2, but it's supposed to be H1. So I'm going to change the tag to H1. Behind the scene, this is the tag is going to generate for us. And as you can see, it has increased the title, but we are going to change the styling under this style here, where you can change the alignment. Then this is where you can change the typographical like that. This is where you can change the shadow. This is where you can change the color. And as you can see right now, it's using the default color that was set up. But here we can click on this globe icon here now. Once you click on it, as you can see, it will bring out all those fonts that we set up, or all those colors that were set up like that. So this is the color we're supposed to use, which is this very dark blue. And as you can see here now, it will update it. Anytime you want to use any of the color that have been set up, you just click on this globe, or anytime you want to use any global setting, just click on the globe. It will bring out all those settings. As you can see, the secondary, the text, and the accent that was set up before. So everything will come out here like that. For the color, once you click on it, it will bring out all the color that was set up like that. I think it's this dark blue, not that very dark. Yeah. So this is what's supposed to be there like that. We'll still come back into it, but for now, let's click on this plus icon so that it brings out all the widgets again. So once you want to go back to the widget to pick any other item, just click on the plus. It will come back to this place so that we can be able to add the text to our page, because we need to add the text. So after, and as you can see, you need to know where you want to place the stuff. So wherever you want to place the stuff, that background is going to show here. It's not supposed to be at the top. It's supposed to be below this text here like that. So it's going to generate the normal paragraph for us. As you can see, the tag. So it's going to generate paragraph, but you can change it to any other tag that you want. But by default, it's going to be paragraph, which is what we need. And this is not what is going to be there. So I will go back into that index.html and I will get the content that needs to be inside that place. So yeah, now I'm going to remove everything here. Again, remove this spacing because it's not supposed to be like that. And now we have the content that we want to showcase here. We're going to come back into the styling for this one too. But for now, I will click on the plus again. Now we're going to be adding the button, which is the third item we need to add it. So yeah, I'm going to be adding it to the list here. And as you can see, the button is not following what we want. But first, let's change the text that will be there. So this is where you change the text. So what the text that is here, so if you go back into that design, you see that the text that is there is this get started. So I'm going to type it here, get started like that. Again, if it is a link, you can supply the link here. If it's going to be a link, if it's going to have icon, you can put icon there like that. You can see you can upload SVG or you can use icon library in case your this thing is going to contain icon. But right now, our design is not, the button is not having any icon. So it's going to be none like that. But the major thing we need is this styling part here because that background is not what I need. So we need to change the styling for our button. And as you can see here, there are two settings for your button. There is normal. Normal is when you are not on top of the button, and there is over setting. So if you change to this style now, it means whatever you are doing here, it will only happen when you hover on the button. And when it is under the normal, whatever you are doing here, it will be to the button when it is over or when it is not over, when the over setting is not there at all. So it will just be using this one like that. But what do we need? The text color. So if you check the original design that we want to work on, the button, the text is white. This is not what I want. I want the design without the overstate. So this is the design without the overstate. So this is the design without the what's wrong with this thing? So this is the design without the overstate like that. So this is how the button will look like. So we need to do the design. And as you can see, the text there is not white. The text there is that light red that we set up. So here now, we can just click on the globe so that we can pick the color. So this is the color is using at that place. And for the background, it's just normal background. But if you need a gradient background, as you can see, you can switch to gradient. But I'm not going to be using gradient. I'm going to be using pure color. And where's the color you want to use? So you can pick the color here. But since we already set up our global color, we don't need to be setting it here every time. Or we don't need to be typing the color code every time. That's why we set up our global. So we just need to pick the color that we need from the global, and it's going to switch to that our global color. Again, coming down here, if you look at the button, it is rounded. You know that that's border radius, and as you can see, the setting is here. So we just need to give it a value that is going to make this thing to be rounded. Just give it a bigger number so that it will going to round it like that. Apart from that, there is a shadow at the back of it. So we have a shadow at the back of it. So that is box shadow if you want to create it directly from CSS. But here, as you can see, there is a shadow here too that you can use like that. So here, what is your shadow color? Then you can come here, set up whatever color you want to use for the shadow. How are you moving it on the X axis? And how are you moving it on the Y axis? And as you can see, you are going to be seeing the setting. You just need to adjust it until it matches the design that you want like that. Again, the blur, I want it to blur out a little bit, and I want the spread to just be a little, so it's not going to be like that. And the color here, I want the color to be close to that red like that. So you can shift this one to show the color more, or you can go there to reduce the opacity of the color. So I'm just going to take this thing up a little bit like that so that it gives us this kind of this shadow, which is looking like what we have here like that. And once you are okay with this, you can save or you can publish the stuff. Or if you need to increase the padding, because I think this button here now, we might need to increase the padding on the top and bottom like that in case. So you can unlink it and you change only the top and the bottom. But if it's the same thing across, you can just apply the stuff here like that. For example, I can just use 1 pixel. As you can see, using 1 pixels, but it's not pixels that I want. I want to use rem. So you can change the unit from the side here because I love rem like that. So I'm going to change the unit to rem, and I'm going to use 1 rem like that, and it's going to create this, but it's creating it in a way that I don't want like that. So I'm going to remove it because it's adding it to the container. It's not actually adding it to the button itself. So, and I want this thing to be inside the button, so we can use CSS to do the same there like that. But I don't want to deal with CSS right now because this thing will not even give us, as you can see, it is pro feature, but there's a way of bypassing this thing that we're going to do later. But for now, I will leave my button like that. But later on, we can do our global setting for the button, and everything is going to be okay like that. So we have the content for the left, but we are not done yet. This text here, this is not the font. This is not the color that is here. So if you look at it, the color that is here is this gray color like that. And again, to look at the text we have here, bring everyone is at the top. Together to build is the second. Then better product is the third. But that's not the same thing that we have here. So this better supposed to be next line, not on this line, on the second line. So how can we do it? So just click on it like that. It's going to bring out the setting for it again. We need to go under the advanced. Then under the advanced, as you can see, the width. The width is depending on the content you put inside it. But we want to set our own width. So you can pick this custom here. So once you select custom, then you'll be able to adjust the width yourself according to the design. As you can see now, it looks better. So bring everyone is at the top. Together to build is the second, and better product is the third. And I think this 72% is okay like that. If you want, you can increase it a little bit, maybe to around this. Let me see, 70. Yeah, I think 72 is okay. So let's click on this second text too, like that. So we can click on that one too. We go under the advanced. Then under the width, we want to use custom width because if you look at the design too, the text is stop under this product. It's not just expanding anyhow like that. So you need to stop under this C here. So we just need to adjust that width too until it gets to the part it needs to stop. And as you can see, this side too has been done properly. So in order for us to see what we've working on since, we can just click on this publish. And once it's published, then everybody now will be able to see it, because whatever you are doing here, if you don't publish, it's just for you alone at the back end. Nobody will see it at the front end. So in order for this thing to be available at the front end, you need to publish what you have been working on. Now it's published, so we can go back to our home page that did not have any content. And once we reload, you see that this thing is now going to show the content on the left that we have there like that. And you're going to see that the stuff is not touching the container, because any container that you created there, as you can see, any container that you created, they don't touch the edge. There is a setting that is there already. There's a max width that is already being set up for us. So this is our button, and as you can see, there is no style for when it is over. So we can add all those one later on there like that. So if you look at it, there is a container here. So if you click on this container and you go to under this the layout there, you see that the stuff is boxed. So content width. So whatever content that is inside that container is going to create a box for them. And that box cannot go more than, as you can see, the default setting that is there. It can't go more than this 1140. But based on the design we are working on, it's supposed to be more than this. So I'm going to set it to 1200. Like that. This is wrong. It should be 1200. So what we are saying here is that that container, as you can see, is using 1140 before. But I want this thing to be a max width of 1200, which is going to be something like this. As you can see, there is a space here. If you are doing it from normal CSS and HTML, you have to be the one that will set it up. But here, it has been set up already to box. But if you don't want it like that, as you can see, you can set it to full width. So which means it's going to cover every space. So there won't be any kind of a contain there like that. But if you want it to contain, or you want it to stop at a particular width, you change it to box, which is what is there by default. Then if you need to customize the width, then you can set it here. The same thing with height too. So by default, it's changing based on the height of the content. But as you can see, you can increase the height too, so that it cover up a particular height that you want this thing to cover up like that. But by default, it will be changing based on the content that is inside it like that. And you can change the unit, maybe VH, if in case you want it to be 100 VH by default. So you can just change the stuff here like that. But for now, I will just leave it as pixels, and I will remove it into this one as your minimum height. So this is the minimum in case the content is not up to that. So this is the minimum height is going to have. But I'm going to set it to 0 or even remove it so that it go back to the normal setting that is there, like that. So the other thing we need to add now is the image that is on this left, or let me publish the setting we did for this 1200 so that we can see the changes, because if you reload and you don't publish, you are not going to see anything until you publish. That's where the changes is going to show on the front end to the user there, like that. So it's still loading, and once this thing is done and everything is saved, you are going to see that the spacing that we have here now will be reduced, because I've changed it to 1 2 instead of 1. Yeah, as you can see now, the space has reduced, like that, because it's now 1200, but this screen is 1003 something, like that. So it's always going to stop and that 1200. So let's work on the content on the right, and that's where we're going to stop for today. So let's work on the content for the right, and what is on the right side, nothing much, is just the image that is there. But there is a problem. The problem is that anytime you want to add image here, like that, so just add the image, drag the image to that place, and it's going to add it there. So the next thing is for us to choose image, but there is a problem. Where you want to choose this image, the type of image you want to use right now is disabled by WordPress by default. The only type of image that you can upload in your project is just .png or .jpeg. Every other one, you can't upload them at all. And as you can see, most of the design here, or most of the images here, they are SVG. So if I try to drag any one of them now into this stuff, you see that the thing will not work, as you can see here. So BG, SVG, the file cannot be processed by the web server because this thing has been disabled already by WordPress. This thing will not allow you to upload any SVG file. But assuming it's normal JPEG file that you select or normal PNG file, it will work. But if you upload any other type of file, it will not allow you. So what we can do here is to talk to this Elementor to do the setting behind the scene for us. You can do the setting yourself too, but let's talk to Elementor to do the setting that will allow us to be able to upload SVG, because without that setting, you will not be able to upload SVG. And how do you do that setting? So just go to this setting once again, which is the site setting, like that. So you are going to go to the site setting. So from there, that's where you're going to see the option to enable SVG in your project. So let's wait for it to go to that place. And once you go to the site setting, we're going to go to the identity section, and from there we're going to try to upload. Yeah, so we need to go to the identity, the site identity. So once you click on it, like that, as you can see, we can upload our site logo there. And as you can see, they have the option to choose normal image, and it have the option to choose the SVG. So once you click on SVG, because the SVG is not set up by default, as you can see, this stuff is now coming out right now, like that. That is telling us that we need to enable it, because by default it is not enabled. So in order for us to be able to use SVG, so we need to click on this enable, and once it's enabled, now you can upload any SVG file. So now that this thing has been set up, we just need to go back to that our image and we start uploading whatever we need to upload. But yeah, you can actually upload anything you want. For example, like the site icon, as you can see right now, is using this icon that is coming from XAMPP. But in case we don't want to be using that icon, we want to use our own icon, we can just click on choose here, select files, like that, and we're going to pick the one that we want. But instead of you coming here like that, all the images that we need for the project, as you can see, they are here. So just highlight everything like this and drag it to this place. So it's going to upload all of them. What's wrong with this thing? So what you need to do here, Control A to select everything, then drag all of them. They are just 17. So once you drag it into this place, yeah, it's doing nonsense stuff, but it did not drag it correctly. So let me go back into that place. Oh God, this is not what I want. It has already opened them where I don't want them to be. You need to drag it correctly. So once you drag it, you need to allow that line to show. Yeah, this line, that line must show. I don't know why this thing is doing nonsense. So this blue line must show. If that blue line did not show, it will do nonsense. So once that blue line show, then you leave it, and it's going to upload all the file for you. As you can see, you don't need to start opening them one by one every time. So it will upload everything into this your media library. And anyway, you need any of these assets later on, once this media library is open, you have access to all of them. So let it upload all of them. I like that one. While that one is going, let me close all this nonsense that this stuff was doing before. So it opened all of them in the browser instead of it to open it in that media. So let me close everything. Okay, they are done like that. So it is going to upload all of them, which is not supposed to even take time because all this thing is not even up to 100 kilobyte. So supposed to even be done by now. So this wave icon is what I want to add right now. But let me wait for it to load. Because all these things, they are not even up to 200 kilobytes, so it's not even supposed to take time. Here you can see it's not even up to 100 kilobytes. It's just 71.2 kilobytes, like that, which is supposed to even load once, like that. Well, this WordPress, I don't know why it's slowing down this night. So you need to wait for it, and as you can see, it's done uploading some of them, but you need to upload the other one. So it's done uploading 8 out of 17. So this hamburger menu too has been added. So 9 icon Pinterest. All this icon will be used later on for footer. So let me wait for it, and once it's done, we'll be able to continue with the other things. Loading. Remaining 6. Yeah, so this image is what we want. But now I've already uploaded, so I don't need to be uploading it again where we need it. Since everything you're uploading to your WordPress, they will be added to your library so that you can use them later on, like that. It will be easier to work with. So whatever you upload, it will save all of them here in the library. Remaining 1. Yeah, so it's done with everything. So where is my wave icon? Like that. So where is it? So load more. Let me load everything. What's wrong with this WordPress? Where is the fave icon? This is the logo. It's not loading. See, I have to go back to where I need it. So I'll come back to all this one. If you want to upload the site logo, you can choose it from here. But let's go back to the page, because that's not the major thing. We just came here to activate our stuff. So now that the stuff has been activated, so let's click on this image once again. So click on the image. It's still loading. My this thing is loading. Let me reload the entire page. Sometimes this thing is just... So reload the entire page. Oh, this video is really long. Oh, this is the last part. Let me just add this image, and once I'm done adding the image, that will be the end of the class. Okay, it's loading. Okay. All right, so it's back. What we just need to do is to click on this image, then choose image. If you look at it now, you have all the files already, because we already uploaded everything when we are doing the setting for the SVG. So all these things, they are there. We just need to pick the image that we need and click on select. And as you can see now, the image has been added. But now there is something we need to do. If you look at it, the text is at the center of the other content. So it's supposed to be at the center of the image, but right now it's not at the center. Why? Because we need to go to this container that is holding them, and we need to do the layout. As you can see, we need to align the content, which is something you know already. So if you want the one that is small to be center of the one that is high, so you need to change the alignment, since the direction is row right now. So content are placed side by side, so we need to change it to center. And as you can see, this content now, because the image is really large, so it will move the content to the center of that image, like that. There is another thing we're going to be adding to this container later on, but that is going to be next class. It's going to be under this style, this background overlay. So that image that you are seeing at the back here, so we can add that one too here by just picking the background that we want. So just clicking on this classic, not the gradient, like that. So we can pick the image that we want to use. Everything has been uploaded already in our library. We just need to go to the library and pick the correct image, which is going to be this one here. So this is what we want to use. So click on select, and you see that it's going to add it to the back. But now it's repeating the stuff and it's not placing it at the correct location. So what we can do here is to do the setting. So there like that, by coming to this positioning like that. Again, to this is a repeat, so we don't want the stuff to repeat. It's just going to be 1. And again, for the size is using the default size. If you want, you can use a custom size for your image. So once you click on custom, then you'll be able to adjust the size of this your image, so the height and the opacity of the stuff. So if I go to 1, as you can see, it's going to show clearly, and if you go to 0, it will not show at all. And you can increase this opacity to change the way it's being displayed. So this is the size of the stuff, so we can reduce the size a little bit like that, and we can go to the position. So if you use this top center, it will be at the top center like that. If you use top left, you see that it will be at the top left. Then if you use top right, it will be at the top right, but it's not doing it correctly like that. So here you can use custom, so that you'll be able to adjust the stuff yourself. So you can now move it anywhere you want it to be on the X and the Y. So on the Y, just let it go up like that, and on the X, it's just going to go here. But I don't want to be using pixels. I always love to use percentage, so that this thing will work based on the screen like that. So I'm going to switch it to percentage, and again to this one too, I'm going to switch it to percentage. You need to know when to use pixels and when to use percentage, because why do I need to use percentage? Because I want this thing to depend on the page. So just go to wherever this thing is like that. So for the Y like that, so just go up a little bit on the Y like that. Then on the X, as you can see, it's at the end already, or you can use this to move it to this side, or use this to move it to the end, and you can even increase it to maybe like 110 like this, so that it will move it outside of the screen a little bit. And for this one, it will go up a little bit too like that, and you can even increase the screen. So you have to keep adjusting until you are okay with the setting like that. So for the Y, I will take it up a little bit. What's wrong with this Elementor? I've changed it. It's Elementor that is doing this nonsense now. Okay, so take it up. So minus 100, but I want it to be minus 150, so that it goes outside, or minus 180, or let me use minus 200, not 2000. So I think or 250 like this. Then for the Y, this one is going to be 120, so that it goes to the left, and this one should just be 350, and I think it's okay like this for now, because time is gone. So the next thing is just for us to publish, and we are done with this section for now on desktop. So this is the section for the top. In the next class, we're going to be working on this what's different about manage section, but see the same process we are going to follow here too. So that background too is here, but now it's going to be by the bottom left. So I want you to go through this thing and make sure that you have this thing at your end. Okay, save. So let me go to the page and check, and now we should have the image on the left, and the content should be center of that image like that. So let me wait for it, and once it's done loading, it's going to bring the new content that we just added to this thing. Now as you can see, we have the head, but this thing is not positioned correctly where I want it to be. So we are going to be doing that in the next class to move it up properly, or to decide that it needs to be, because right now it's close to the bottom part, which is not what I want. It's supposed to be close to the up, and I don't know why this thing is just taking time to load for now, but it's supposed to be by this side, not at the down. So this thing is loading nonsense stuff for me there like that. So that's what we're going to have. So in the next class, we continue with the other section there like that. So we have this section where we have the image this side, the content there. Then the second section will be added. So add a section, just click on another generator here like that. The same thing here too. There are two sections, so one on the left and one on the right. So the one on the left is going to be this, and the one on the right is going to be this, which is going to be having the heading. So for this side now, you're just going to be having the heading, and apart from the heading, you are going to be adding the text. But right now I'm using the dummy text because I don't have the content to add it. So yeah, I'm just adding this dummy content, and yeah, the other thing is going to come here, which is going to be this. So these are different sections that we need to create, but for now I'm going to publish, so that we know that we have this other section like that. So publish, and once it's done, we should have it on the page. So that will be all. Let me stop recording.